All right, guys, sometimes you just got to hit record and go. There's days when I feel like making videos, and there's days when all of the energy is sort of sucked out of me and I have to self motivate. And that's one of those days today. I'm not sure why. I've just been locked inside for a long time. I escape every once in a while to ride my bike, but it's a lot of indoor activity that I usually don't do. So, without further ado, I would like to get you on track for these next two videos, these class presentations. And we have, actually, today, Chapter 5 and Chapter 6, which will be Kumji and Yedim. This should put us back on track so that we're going through the chapters in order and pretty close together. So, I will preview chapter 5 real quickly because I previewed chapter 6 in the last video because we were a little bit mixed up on deadlines and things like that. And you've already gotten into chapter 6 a little bit. So let's go through, preview chapter 5, say a few words about that, and then let you do what you came here to do, see your fellow classmates presenting the chapters that they read. So, chapter 5, one thing it mentions is tech addiction. So that is addiction to these. We all sort of feel this, that it compromises genuine human connection and community. This is an interesting word, though, genuine human connection. I often think about this word genuine. What is genuine human connection? I think the the summary here sort of infers that that means face to face, touch, sight, breathing the same air in the same room. And is that genuine, or is something in the future coming where genuine human connection might come through social media? So I always try to step outside the box and think about things like this before I judge other people. Or, you always hear the classic remark of, well, we were at the restaurant and we looked over and the couple over there didn't even look at each other. They didn't even talk to each other. They were on their phones. And I've heard this story so many times, this anecdote. I don't know what to make of it, right? Is it rude? Is it natural? Like, what are we, what defines us? What are we doing? So this is something that is brought up in chapter 5. And this is one of the reasons I chose this book, uh, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, because I figured if I wait too long, this sort of change in behavior might already have passed us by. The students I meet in 10 years might wonder, why are we even addressing this? This is natural behavior. Things might have changed so much. So I thought it might be interesting to talk about it now. And this book may not be as relevant 10 years down the line, for the present. It'll always be an interesting look at history. So anyhow, Harari makes his point here about compromising genuine human connection, basically saying that it's good and bad. On the one hand, he can talk more easily than ever to his cousin overseas in Switzerland, but it's harder for him to talk to someone in the same room over breakfast because that person is constantly looking at his smartphone, in this case, his husband. Constantly looking at his smartphone instead of at him. Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. I also know that there's one member of my household who, even if we watch a family movie together, he or she will keep it secret. You always see that glow. They're always like this, either giving likes to people on social media. Maybe they're looking up the names of actors in the movie, or sometimes when you watch a movie, like say you watch Batman, you're like, what? Like, wasn't Joker? Wasn't he in Arkham Asylum? You'll say something, and then you can easily look it up online. Well, it's one thing to do that, after the movie, and it's another thing to do it during the movie. So I noticed it. I never really comment on it, but it's definitely an sort of an observation I've had, and it sort of is explained in chapter 5. So there is my preview. I'll let you guys watch chapter 5, community. That's the first video. And then 6B will be the next chapter we watch. I hope you guys really enjoy this, and also getting to see your classmates prepare these presentations. And it's a challenge, right? For everybody. It's a challenge in different ways, making these videos. So enjoy, guys. And we'll have the test up and ready for you on Blackboard as soon as we can. Good luck, guys. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Kumji and I'm a presenter of Chapter 5 Community. It's the first time that I present in video, as everyone made us too. Also, actually, I'm not a good English speaker, but I'll do my best. So, hope you enjoy my presentation. Okay, then, let's start. Yeah. Chapter 5 Community revolves around the declaration by Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, issued in February 2017 and follow-up speech on June. On February 16th, 2017, Mark Zuckerberg posted a declaration titled Building Global Community. In that declaration, he talked about the need to build a global community and Facebook's role in that project. He said that because many of social political upheavals, such as drug addiction or totalitarian regimes, it's from the disintegration of community, we need to reconnecting people. Also, he said, Facebook's tools to help build communities will strengthen social fabrics and bring the world closer together. However, month later, the Mark Zuckerberg announced that declaration. The Cambridge Analytica scandal revealed Facebook's data was used to manipulate elections around the world, and of course, Zuckerberg's determination lost credibility. Harari said, nevertheless, there is a need to consider that online social networks can help build a global human community. So, I want to ask you guys, have you ever joined online community, especially through Facebook? Zuckerberg said Facebook started a project to see if we could get better at suggesting groups that will be meaningful to us. For that suggestions, the Facebook started building on artificial intelligence. And in the first 6 months, he said they helped 50% more people join meaningful communities. In my case, actually, I deleted my Facebook account 2 years ago because I thought I didn't have a very positive effect from the Facebook on my life. For me, Facebook is just SNS, social net people use for sharing daily lives. And actually, I avoided having a relationship with strangers I don't know in real life. So maybe I didn't know how to use Facebook productively, but after I read this chapter and got to know Facebook's vision, I could feel that SNS was starting to play a bigger and bigger role in our lives. Some people says we live in a hyper-connected society. I thought you guys have heard these words at once. So hyperconnectivity is a term invented by Canadian social scientists. It is arising from their studies of person to person and person to machine communication in network organizations and network societies. The term refers to the use of multiple means of communication, such as email and instant messaging and telephone, and also includes face to face contact. People are all connected around the world, especially nowadays. We can send the messages to anyone wherever they live in. But what Harari says is the more we are connected by networks, the more life appear. Consequently, people live ever more lonely lives in an ever more connected planet. And that causes many of social and political disruptions of our time. Even though Facebook has lost credibility, Harari says Zuckerberg's vision of reconnecting humans to one another is timely and noble. Also, there are many organizations that strive to rebuild human communities, such as feminist activists. But what makes Facebook's plan unique is its global scope. And the reason why Facebook of that huge scale is from its deep faith in technology, the artificial intelligence. Okay, Facebook convinced AI, artificial intelligence, can not only identify meaningful communities but also strengthen our social fabric and bring the world closer together. If we succeed, algorithms will be acknowledged as the new masters of human social networks. But if it failed, it will uncover the limitation of new technologies, and we should still rely on politicians and priests to solve social problems. How do you think about that? First of all, what is meaningful community? What conditions are needed for that? Does AI can identify that? I think it's a matter to be considered at least once. Okay. In order to implement Facebook's new vision, it will have to bridge the chasm between online and offline at first. It means physical communities have a depth that virtual communities cannot match. Okay, my video recording is suddenly turned off, so I'll restart with this slide. Okay, so here's a point. Here's a main point. Humans have bodies. Technology has been distancing us from our bodies. We are losing our ability to pay attention to our senses. In fact, people are more interested in what is happening in cyberspace than in the street, the real offline. Also, people use social network like Facebook for sharing experiences. When something exciting happens, the user of Facebook pulls out their smartphones, take a picture, post it, and waiting for likes. Harari says in the process, they barely notice that what they themselves feel. In other words, people are encouraged to understand what happens to them in terms of how others see it and how others react it. So, do you guys share your experiences online? Do you guys post the pictures of your daily lives online? Well, in my case, I use Instagram and post some pictures and videos sometimes. I thought the way I use SNS is closer to recording my daily lives, such as my face, my look, the weather, the beautiful skies, or the flowers in the street, the foods I ate, the people who I met, and many more daily life stuffs. But after I read this part, I realized that from a certain point of time, the more likes I get, the more I satisfied. I waited for others' likes and comments. Even I thought that how many likes I get is not important. Furthermore, if I didn't get a measure of reactions, I feel depressed. So, this is what Harari said about it. People estranged from their bodies, senses, and physical environments are likely to feel isolated and disoriented. People even cannot live happily if they are disconnected from their bodies. Zuckerberg also mentioned a solution for social polarization. He made a claim that showing people an article from the opposite perspective actually deepen polarization. So the best solution make getting to know each other as whole people. Facebook can do the best. He said, if we can connect with people what they interested in, it is easier to have dialogue about what we disagree on. However, is getting to know each other as whole people easy? I think the answer is no. Is it possible to get to know each other as whole people online? I think that's difficult too. Then we can have a question on that. Will Facebook invent a new tool that causes people to spend more time in meaningful online offline activities with friends? We we could think about that. Facebook make money with online process. The more people use online communities and online stuffs that Facebook served, Facebook can make more money. But as a Zuckerberg want to reconnect humans with community, it's it's um, it's unavoidable that connect offline activities for that. So, will Facebook invent a new tool for that? We have to watch this later. Okay. So, it seems a revolution through the network is already started. If Facebook now aims to instigate a global revolution, the first thing it should do it should do is bridging the gap between online and offline. Also, a crucial step toward uniting humankind is to appreciate that humans have bodies. Okay, so my presentation is over. Hope you enjoyed my presentation. Okay, thank you guys. Hope you take care and hope we can meet in class as face to face. Bye bye.
Hi, this is Jung Ye Lim. My major is computer science engineering, and today I'm going to make a presentation about 21st Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Harari, Chapter 6, Civilization. And my co-presenter, Oh Yujin, will be presenting the first part of the civilization, and I'm going to present the second part of the civilization. And the small topics I'm going to present is about the medieval Olympics and $1 to rule them all. Let's start. Civilization, the meaning of the word in Korea is 문명, and in English, if I search it in Google, it says the stage of human social and cultural development and organization that is considered most advanced. And what the book says is social and economics were really various, like 1,000 to 2,000 years ago. There were so many kinds of political things and lots of cultural things. It's really variety, it's various from others to others, and there are so many economic differences, like they use the different way to buy things. Like in some Chinese people, they would use a pig or a cow to buy a food or a cloth, but in the other places they would use some silver or a gold to buy some things. So it was really different from now, and there are so many political things like Muslim. They had a, like caliphate and claiming universal Soviet link, but also there are United Kingdom which wanted to rule the whole world, and so many North and West tribal conventuaries fought each other with glee, and there are so many others such as this. But in contrast, today's there are political paradigm, like there are more than 200 regions and countries, but there are common international laws. Like for example, if we take others' stuff, we have to go to a jail, and if we want to go to another country or a state, we need to bring our passport, and we can significant ourselves in a common international ways. So it was long and it was really confusing, but what I wanted to say is 1,000 years ago it was really different from now. There are so many variety political states, and nowadays there are really common international standard of everything, like social things, economic things, or a cultural thing. There are social standard. The civilization talks about many topics, but I think he talked about three different main topics. The first one is Olympic and political issues. Yuval Harari said if we had an Olympic like 1,000 years ago, we wouldn't even meet each other. We wouldn't even make the Olympic game started because we cannot even gather together. And if we could gather, there will be lots of fights, and it's really hard to make people make a decision which country they are in. Like some people will say they are Chinese, but some people will just say they speak Chinese. They are not Chinese. Like Hong Kong or Thailand, they speak Chinese, but they are not Chinese people. It's like the language they speak or their cultural things and their religions and their nationalities are not the same as we think. And thousands of years ago, it was much more different than now. So the author says it will be really hard to gather all together and have everyone have each nationality. It, and the other topic is about political issues, which is if you have different political states, uh, you don't consider the other opposite side. But nowadays, we know that we all have different political issues, and since we have the standard type, like in Korea, we have democracy and the opposite state. I mean, not democracy. Communist and the opposite side, but 1,000 years ago there are much diverse type of political places. And the second one is about money and economy. The author says if we meet nowadays, if a person from America and a person from Uzbekistan could meet each other, but they have different money and they will have different culture, but still they could talk about economic things in a same word, same vocabulary, and they know how the word economy goes, and they can talk really easily to each other, even though they are from different region and they are from opposite side of the earth. And the use of $1 money means the same to all the people in the universe, but 1,000 years ago again, it would be much more different from now. They could not use the same money, or they cannot accept the other's money to buy their own stuff. So it has been changed a lot since the money became standard, the dollars became standard of our money system. And the last thing is about medical things. The author says if we get sick at somewhere in Africa, we still can get healed. But if we get sick at Africa like 1,000 years ago, we cannot. But if we were sick at England or some place which has really good medical systems, even though it's like 1,000 years ago, then we could get healed really easily. So what I wanted to say is 1,000 years ago, the place where I got sick matters to get healed, but nowadays it doesn't matter where you are because all the medical systems are really similar to each other, even though you're in Canada or even though you're in Japan. Anywhere you can have a similar medical treatment. So the questions I wanted to ask is how would be the Olympics in medieval? Can it be possible to open it? And I've just talked about it. And the second question is what if we get sick at Middle East 1,000 years ago? This is also I talked about it a few minutes ago, and I really want you to think about this because I never thought about it before reading this book. I never thought about like Olympics could have some issues if it would be held 1,000 years ago. I never thought that people will get like confused with the nationality, and I never thought the medical system it has begun to be synchronized to each other's. I I've never thought about the nationalism or civilization, both of it. So I think it will be a really good chance to start thinking about it and reading read about it. I think it's really an interesting topic to think about. This is a question where the author asked, and I'm gonna tell you which country I thought. And well, I guess I'm going to read it for you. My country, my homeland. Oh, before reading it, the author said he just changed the whole word into my country, my homeland, which has the country's name to make sure not to get it right because of the name, obviously. My country, my homeland, the land where I have shed my blood, it is there I stand to be my mother's land guard. My country, my nation, my people, and my homeland, let us proclaim my country unite. Long live my land, long live my state, my nation, my homeland, and its entirety. Build its soul, awaken its body for my great country. My great country, independent and free. My home and my country which I love. My great country, independent and free. Long live my great country. Which nation do you think the following anthem belongs to? Well, I thought it was United States because there are lots of words which said long live my state, and I thought states belongs to only the Americans like Canada or United States, and since the United States is the largest, the strongest country in now 2020, so I thought it was United States, but actually the answer is Indonesia. And the author claims that if he says like Mexico or Brazil or Nigeria or Poland, no one would be surprised. Well, I was surprised because I never knew that Indonesia had states. But well, yeah, it's Indonesia, and what the author wants to say is that all the nations have about a similarity faith and what they want from their country. And I really like the word from Anna Carolina, and I really want to read it for you because I cannot memorize it the whole sentence. She said, successful states are all alike, but every failed state fails in its own way. Well, I really like this one because it's, I think it almost same to the grade. I mean, getting a good grade, because all the students who gets a good grade for a same reason, but who gets a low grade gets a low grade for variety reasons. And even the same things, like if someone gets successful, they get success for a same reasons, but if they get really poor or not successful, it's the reasons really the reasons are really many kinds. Well, I'm going to move on to the next page. And the author says about the flags. He said if someone is blind in colors, he wouldn't recognize which flag belongs to which countries. And well, even though I don't have a color blind, I cannot match the countries with the states. Well, let's do it together. It's just a small topic, but I really wanted to make it in a visual because I really wanted to show you how similar the flags are and how pretty, how gorgeous the countryside are, because the pictures are really gorgeous. The first one matches Belgium. I mean, isn't it so beautiful? It's not about the topic, but I think it's such a beautiful place. I really want to visit Belgium because of this picture. And this next one matches. No, this is the Belgium. I'm sorry. The previous one was. I have to find it. The first one is Chad. It's from somewhere in Africa. I never heard about it, but I think it's really a gorgeous place and I really want to visit it also. And the second one is Belgium, and it's another gorgeous place. I really like the color of the buildings, and I really like the Gothic style, ancient Gothic style. I think I learned it at my major. I mean, I have a sub major which is fashion design and textile, and we learn about historical things, and I really like the Gothic style. And the last one is a famous France. Well, I thought I knew how to draw a France French flag, but now seeing all of them, I don't think I could recognize it. I think it's really similar to each other. Well, the author wants to say that every country have similar anthem and also similar flags, which means the red color means really similar things, and the yellow color, blue color also. So he wants to say it's really everything is so similar to each other these days. Everyone wants the same things. So the last question is, this is what the author asked us, but I think I could talk a lot about this. Is nationalistic problem affordable, or is it not worth it? Because there are lots of troubles because of the nationalistic problems. But still, we have lots of good stuff like medical things, or I mean, in coronavirus, the nationalistic things is helping us because Korea has lots of medical kits and we are giving them to others. But if we don't have the nationalism, it will be really hard as it is now. So I think I thought maybe it's affordable because of the coronavirus first, and I really like to go abroad, and I really want to know how many people think, and I really like to read novels from other countries because every country have its color and it's really different, and I really like the French style and Japanese style and Spanish. Since I am learning Spanish these days, I really want to go abroad, and I have been abroad for 1 year and a half at the States, and I've learned a variety of things, and I've tried lots of activities which if I were in Korea I couldn't try. So if the economic system were different from each other, then I couldn't go abroad and try this lots of good things. So I think nationalistic problems are really big still, but affordable because we can help each other and we can be a good standard to each other. Since like thousands of years ago, there are a few countries that did really bad things, like in Europe, but uh, having standards and having having standards made them be more humanity, I think. So the author thinks it's not worth it maybe, but well, I think it's affordable and it's really worth it, and I really wanted to know the opinions about others. Well, I'm really sorry about my bad English, but I hope you understood this chapter and you will think a lot like me about this chapter together. Thank you for your attention. Bye.